It's time to move on to flat keys. We're going to use the same 5-step process to build major scales that require flats. So let's build the F major scale. Remember, step 1 is we write F on the staff. Step 2 is we fill in the notes to the octave. That's F, G, A, B, C, D, and E. Third, we number the scale degrees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Fourth, we write in the formula. So we need a whole step between 1 and 2, a whole step between 2 and 3, a half step between 3 and 4, a whole step between 4 and 5, a whole step between 5 and 6, and a whole step between 6 and 7, and then finally a half step between 7 and 8, the octave. And then the 5th step, keeping the naturally occurring half steps in mind, we make the formula fit. So from 1 to 2, we need a whole step, and from F to G, we have a whole step. From 2 to 3, we need a whole step, and from G to A, we have a whole step. From 3 to 4, we need a half step, but from A to B, we have a whole step. So we need to decrease the distance from A to B. We do that by lowering the B a half step, by applying a flat. So A to B flat is now a half step, satisfies the formula. From 4 to 5, we need a whole step, and now B flat to C is a whole step. From 5 to 6, we need a whole step, and from C to D is a whole step. From 6 to 7, we need a whole step, and from D to E is a whole step. And then from 7 to 8, we need a half step, and E to F is a half step. That's one of our naturally occurring half steps. So the key of F requires one flat. Next, let's build the B flat major scale. And notice this starts on a note that's already flatted. So first we write the tonic on the staff, that's B flat. And next we fill in the notes to the octave. That would be B flat, C, D, E, F, G, and A. Next we write in the numbers of the scale degrees. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we write in A, the octave of the tonic. Next, we write in the interval formula. We need a whole step between 1 and 2, a whole step between 2 and 3, half step between 3 and 4, whole step between 4 and 5, whole step between 5 and 6, whole step between 6 and 7, and a half step between 7 and 8. And next, step 5, we go back and make the interval formula fit. So, from 1 to 2, we need a whole step, and from B flat to C is a whole step. From 2 to 3, we need a whole step, and from C to D is a whole step. From 3 to 4, we need a half step. From D to E is a whole step, so we need to decrease that distance, and we do that by lowering the E a half step by applying a flat. So E becomes E flat, and therefore D to E flat is a half step. We need a whole step from 4 to 5, and now E flat to F is a whole step. From 5 to 6, we need a whole step, and from F to G is a whole step. From 6 to 7, we need a whole step, and from G to A is a whole step. And from 7 to 8, we need a half step, and A to B flat is a half step. So the key of B flat required two flats, B flat and E flat, to satisfy the major scale interval formula. And remember, the key of F required one flat, and that was B flat. So next, let's build the E flat major scale. Step 1, we write E flat on the staff. Step 2, we fill in the notes to the octave. So we write in E flat, F, G, A, B, C, D, and again E flat. Next, we number the scale degrees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And next, we write in the interval formula. From 1 to 2, we need a whole step. 2 to 3, we need a whole step. 3 to 4, we need a half step. 4 to 5, we need a whole step. 5 to 6, we need a whole step. 6 to 7, we need a whole step. And 7 to 8, a half step. Now we go to step 5, and we make the interval formula fit. So from 1 to 2, we need a whole step. Well, E flat to F is a whole step. From 2 to 3, we need a whole step, and from F to G is a whole step. From 3 to 4, we need a half step, but G to A is a whole step. So we need to decrease the distance from G to A, and we do that by applying a flat to A. So now A is A flat, and G to A flat is a half step like the formula. From 4 to 5, we need a whole step. Well, from A flat to B is a step and a half. So that's too wide of a distance. So we need to decrease the distance by lowering B a half step to a B flat. Now the distance from A flat to B flat is a whole step like the formula between 4 and 5. From 5 to 6, we need a whole step, and now that B is B flat to C is a whole step. From 6 to 7, we need a whole step, so C to D satisfies that. C to D is a whole step. And then from 7 to 8, we need a half step. D to E flat is a half step. So notice that the key of E flat required 3 flats to satisfy the formula. B flat, E flat, and A flat. Take a break from watching this now and practice building these three scales again on your own on a piece of staff paper. In addition to these, build these major scales. Build A flat, D flat, G flat, and C flat. If you're done with that work, you're ready to move forward. Now you may have noticed the need to use a C flat when building the G flat major scale. If you play C flat on your guitar, you'll see that it's the same note as a B natural. Remember the term enharmonic equivalent? That's what C flat and B are. So why don't we just call that note B? It's because we have to use all the letters of the musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. That's all. So in the key of G flat, the second fret on your A string is not B, it's C flat. You also may have noticed the need to use the notes C flat and F flat when building the C flat major scale. Again, if you play a C flat on your guitar, you'll see that it's the same note as a B natural, and you'll see that F flat is the same as an E natural. C flat and B are enharmonic equivalents, and F flat and E natural are too. So why don't we just call F flat and E? Same reason as before. We have to use all the letters of the musical alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So let's dive into the flat key signatures. What if you wrote a song in the key of A flat and wanted to write the melody on the staff? Let's remember from the work you did earlier in this unit that the A flat major scale is A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, and G. The notes of the melody would be made up from those scale notes. That means that every time you wanted a melody note to be an A flat, B flat, D flat, or E flat, you'd have to write a flat sign in front of every single A, B, D, or E. Just like with the sharps, this is where flat key signatures come in. And remember how this works? Rather than writing flat signs in front of every A, B, D, and E when writing a song in the key of A flat, we collect the flats and we place them in a formation at the beginning of the piece of music right after the clef sign. Now the musician knows that all A's written after the key signature are A flats, all B's are B flats, all D's are D flats, and all E's are E flats. That's what a flat key signature is. It's the collection of the flats required for a given key. Again, they're placed at the beginning of a piece of music directly after the clef sign. I'm going to list the major scales we worked on earlier in this unit and show the notes that needed to be flat in order for the interval formula to work. As we work through the F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and C flat major scales, you may have noticed a pattern emerging. The F major scale requires a B flat to satisfy the formula. The B flat major scale requires a B flat and an E flat to satisfy the formula. The E flat major scale requires a B flat, E flat, and A flat to satisfy the formula. The A flat major scale requires a B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat to satisfy the formula. The D flat major scale requires a B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, and G flat to satisfy the formula. The G flat major scale requires a B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and C flat to satisfy the formula. And the C flat major scale requires a B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat, and F flat to satisfy the formula. Do you see the pattern? This is called the order of flats. B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Memorize it. We're going to come back to this a little later in this unit. Now that you see this information written in the table of flats, let's talk about how to actually write a flat key signature on the staff. The first flat, B flat, is placed on the middle line. The line should pierce the middle of the flat sign. The second flat, E flat, is placed on the fourth space. The third flat, A flat, is placed on the second space. The fourth flat, D flat, is placed on the fourth line. The fifth flat, G flat, is placed on the second line. The sixth flat, C flat, is placed on the third space. The seventh flat, F flat, is placed on the first space. When writing flat key signatures, it's critical to place the flats in the specific location you see on the screen. Don't deviate. Here are a couple of hints when writing flat key signatures. Don't crowd the flats close together and do not spread them out too far. They should each occupy a vertical lane. Again, when experienced musicians see a key signature, they don't actually count the number of flats or consciously see the specific sharps of flats. They see an image or an icon, or you could think of it as a constellation. The point is, at a glance, they see the key signature and automatically know what key it represents. So like with sharp key signatures, we need to know this information two ways. We need to be able to look at a flat key signature and know what key it represents, and we also need to know the opposite. In other words, I know my song is in, say, the key of A flat. What key signature do I write on a piece of music? So let's look at these two things separately. First, to look at a flat key signature and know what key it represents, there's a clever little trick, different from the trick we used with sharp key signatures. The second to the last flat written in the key signature is the tonic, meaning the key. Look at these key signatures on the screen. You see how the second to the last flat is the key? Now let's flip that. How can I know what key signature to write if my song is in the key of, say, A flat? Well, remember, the second to the last flat in the key signature will be the tonic. So my song is in A flat. Count through the order of flats until you reach A flat. That's B flat, E flat, and A flat. And then add one more, D flat. Now the second to the last flat is the key, A flat. Then remember to write the flats on the staff in the right order and configuration. Quiz yourself on all of the flat keys in the table and notice how the pattern of flats is consistent and never wavers. Practice writing flat key signatures on staff paper and use some of the apps available to drill yourself on key signature knowledge. Expect to spend a significant amount of time in this unit. I can't emphasize enough how important it is for you to know both sharp and flat key signatures like the back of your hand. Everything we study moving forward depends on your command of this information. Learn your flat key signatures and practice your sharp key signatures as well. We'll see you in the next unit. If you find this video helpful, please be sure to click on the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new videos. You can also click the link in the description below to check out the full fretboard biology course when you are ready for a more intensive training program. We'll see you in the next video.